Hey everybody, welcome back to Meta. This is episode 19. I'm Artosis, and joined with me, three wonderful Europeans. Let me go ahead and introduce them before we start talking about the game that we all love just so much. First, Babyknight, fresh off your jet lag from Korea, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I was a bit tired like 2 days ago, but I've adjusted to Europe again, and I'm happy to be back. Although Korea is pretty damn awesome.
It's and you weren't even in the good area, I have to tell you.
I wasn't? Oh, okay.
No, you certainly were not. I thought you were going to come up to Gangnam that last night. I was very sad
Uh,
when only Red walked in.
yeah,
No
sorry about that.
bro tosses to talk with. All right, and then of course we have SortOf, the wonderful Swedish Zerg. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Glad to come on the show.
Oh, thanks for coming. And then of course the man who finally came back to us from his little fake retirement. It is Show. How are you doing today, Show, in this nice cold European morning?
I'm good, but I'm tired. That's the only thing. But I'm probably gonna wake up soon.
Yeah,
I
it's
hope.
like it's really early there, right? Like 3 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so early.
it's too early.
That's like 6 a.m. for a gamer, man. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So thank you guys very much for joining me today. Sorry, by the way, everyone, for having to miss last week. Something came up kind of last second. But we are back. Plenty more episodes to go. And let's just kind of jump right into it. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we get into I Am New York, which I'm sure you guys watched big chunks of, is WCS Korea Finals is in 2 days now. And it's Deer versus Sue, which is a little bit weird just to start off with. I don't think a lot of people really expected that finals going into this season. But I wanted to get your guys' take on exactly how good these guys are. Like, uh, Deer has been playing really well for a long time. Like, he's made it through a bunch of Korean qualifiers. He made it that MLG and whatnot. He kind of made the Sky Toss style that went out of style when people figured out that the Swarm Host is the greatest unit ever made. He's very good, but how does he compare to the other top Protosses? And the same question goes for Sue. Sue is he's a Zerg that's been around for a long time. He's been a pro gamer for like 5 years. Was an okay Zerg in StarCraft One, but here he is, and like he kicked Sulky's ass, and he played very good ZVP in my opinion as well. So what do you guys think about these two players?
I think like especially Deer has been very consistent for quite a while now. Have shown that he can beat like basically anyone and do really well at MLGs and stuff like you said. And I don't know. I didn't think they were like that caliber that they could actually like go to a final and maybe win a tournament like that. So it was a bit surprising to me to see them in the final as well. Um, they're both Kespis players, right?
Yeah. Deer's team just left Kespa, but uh, he's
Okay,
he's a
yeah.
Kespa player for sure.
All right. Well, yeah. I think it's gonna be like a really interesting final. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not sure because the only CVP I've seen from Sue is the games versus partying in the run of eight, and those games were kind of weird. Not too much
Yeah,
to go on, so I have no idea who's gonna take it. And Deer, I haven't seen much of at all except for PvP. So
yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't the most impressive games from Sue. It's teammates battling each other. You can never take much stock out of that. How about
yeah,
you, Shep?
To be honest, I haven't seen much from them, but I saw their Team Liquid thread, and I think Sue flamed. They had a little trash talk. At least Sue had. So just because of that, I'm probably gonna watch that. And like the only thing I've seen from them is I think it was MLG, the last one, where Dare played and he played like Polt and none of them lost to them. But it was a long time ago, so it's hard to say.
Well, it sounds like Baby Knight, you've seen more of Deer than these guys have seen of the other two players. Is he a Protoss that you ever like watch to study very much, or is he just kind of off your radar?
Yeah, he's a bit off my radar. He seems like very generic, just pretty solid, good Protoss, the games I've seen, but he's not someone I really, watch for like a lot. But maybe I will, especially if he wins.
All right, and let's quickly just grab some predictions from you guys before we jump into I Am New York. Show, what do you think? Who takes this? What's the score?
I'm gonna say Sue 4-0 because he said so. Or
Oh,
4-1
wow.
with what it is.
But what did Deer
All
say?
right.
He said 4-1 for himself as well, I think.
I
I'm
wonder
gonna
if
say
anyone would ever predict themselves to lose. Like, yeah, no, I think he's right. Like, I think I'm going to go about 1-4 against Sue. I probably am going to 2-base him 4 times and get him once. But what were you saying, sort of? What do you
I think
think?
Stu is gonna take it because I haven't seen anything of Deer's PVC, so I have nothing to go on him. So Stu takes it 4-2.
All right. And Nate, Babyknight.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. 4-2 is what I think for Sue as well.
So Sue is the next GSL champion. We got to make sure that as long as MC is not in Korea, there will not be any Protoss winners over here. All right. Well, let's talk about IM New York here because this is obviously it was a great tournament. A lot of Koreans getting into that bracket stage. Only Nanoa making it through. Kind of something we've definitely seen before. What were you guys' take overall in the tournament, and really super specifically Nanoa's play?
Go ahead, someone else start.
Sjow, why don't you start?
Sort of or show?
Sjow.
Okay.
That doesn't even sound the same. What?
I'm tired, man. Okay.
It's okay.
I saw the first 2 days. I saw most of the games, especially the TVP and TVC games on Flash and Hack. I think was the only Terrans, and I kind of missed the last day where Naniva kicked ass because I was on another tournament, and I really wanted to see them. I actually got to see the first final game on my iPhone, but then my battery died, so I couldn't see anything after that. So it was sad.
Yeah.
But I tried to follow it by Reddit, the Reddit thread, and everyone was writing Naniva had sick balls of steel and stuff. So I watched a GIF, I think, where he two gated the last game, and Han made blindly 3 hatches, which was pretty cool to see. Because I don't think I ever would have the balls to do that, like the last final game where everything is on stake. So that was pretty cool. But the games I saw was the things I remember was Hack against Naniva, and I think the first game he pulled SVs, and the boys,
You pulled the boys. Is this well-known lingo yet? Because we got to let this out. I don't want people to think I made this up when I'm saying it all the time in my cast.
I don't think
pulling the boys is pulling your SCVs. Apparently, this comes from Sjow. It's what an amazing way to describe it.
It's funnier in Swedish if you say it. Skicka grabbarna. Well, anyway, he sent the boys with the ghost timing. I think he did it blindly because he wasn't prepared for the Colossus. I think he didn't make any Vikings, and I think he won that game because Naniva took a very early third and was off position. But then the other game, the second game, I think Naniva took 3 Nexus with the DT pressure and held the boys push again. I can't really remember the third game, but all I remember about the second game, he pulled the boys without any medevacs, which I think was a big mistake. Bio isn't really that great without medevacs. It makes a huge difference if you have medevacs with that push.
Yeah. Protoss could just keep force fielding, basically. Every time you stim, your army gets so much weaker.
Yeah, you lose HP every time you stim. You can't take it back, so...
Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned that you really focus watching Terran games, obviously, as a Terran pro. I didn't get to watch all of Flash's TVZs in that group. How often did he go mech? Because the games I did see were mech.
Against DRG, he made mech the first game, and he won that game. And then he made bio and lost. So that was pretty funny. But I think it was mostly because DRG wasn't really prepared for the mech. He had the best possible start. I think Flash did because like VRG made links against Hellion Banshee, and the Hellion Banshee did a lot of damage. And then he transitioned into Mutalisk to counter the Banshees. But Flash had the force in time and turrets. So he had to transition back to Roaches from there. And by the time he transitioned to Roaches, he can't really push, like make a big timing push. So he just has to defend and make Vipers. And when the Flash 2-2 push came, he didn't have Vipers in time, so he just crushed him.
Yeah, like he tried to like a late switch to Swarm Host. He was like 170 supply with Roach, and then he started making Swarm Host, which is a bit too late in my opinion if you're gonna do that. Versus Mac, you need to go them like right away then. But like yeah, I think he did good with the Mutas, though. Like even though he was in a pretty bad position, he did like he counterattacked and got some really good damage in with Lings and Mutas. So he was in an okay position. If he just made Hydras instead of Swarm Host, I think he would have been able to defend it.
Yeah,
I'm not Terran or Zerg, but I feel like every time Terran goes mech against Zerg, it's kind of like tempo-based play, weirdly enough, because you play like the Banshee, Hellion stuff, play really multitask heavy, and if you get an advantage, you just follow it up with like a really strong mech push, and you usually win like that, right? But if you play like mech, I think from an even standpoint, like Zerg usually wins. Isn't that true?
Yeah,
With Vipers and Swarm Hosts?
the thing is, mech can't really do anything like mid-game, so the creep spread would be pretty sick if you're playing mech and just playing passive, because you just have to sit on your ass and wait for like the best possible army. And then when you move out, the creep is next to your base, basically.
What if you pull the boys when you move
You
out?
can't put the boys against Zerg, sorry man. I've tried that many times in 2010, doesn't work.
Okay.
But it takes so much time to like remove the creep, and once you reach his base, you probably just lost your whole army.
You know, this is actually something kind of interesting. You know, Flash, I know he went mech at least one game against Curious as well, and then in GSL he was going mech as well against Zerg quite often. And it's something I've been thinking about ever since that DRG Innovation match, where DRG like stopped like perfect Terran macro, where I was, and I actually was talking to Major about this a little bit. Like, Terran is a little bit predictable right now, and so and the fact that Flash keeps doing this, it's not like Flash mechanically is basically there in the game already, but he's like a super genius as well from StarCraft 1. Like, I think he sees something where he's like, I don't think Bio's going to stay around. I feel like maybe in a couple months people are going to start switching to mech more. And Major was telling me he was talking to a few Korean pro Terrans, and a lot of them are starting to mix in more mech play because of how predictable the Bio play is, and the fact that nowadays Zergs get up to 87 drones, they're on 4 bases, and they just make nothing but units. And all they have to do is like crush one push, and the game is over. Does that make any sense? You guys think that could be a reality?
Yeah, I think you have a point there. Like nowadays, let's say 2 months ago, I crushed every Zerg. I had 80% win rate, and nowadays I have 50. So they actually learned how to play, and like people like adapt very quickly in StarCraft to the metagame. It just takes 1 or 2 months, and everything is figured out how to play. They didn't really know how to play 2 months ago. I think that was the reason I had such a big win ratio against Zerg, and it's like in all time of StarCraft, it's always been my worst matchup.
I think it's hard to say because like so few people actually play mech, so there's like it's not figured out at all how to play it and how to play like, against mech. But I've seen a lot more players to start to mech, and also the new patch probably is gonna make a lot more people mech as well. So
Do you think it could ever? Do you think it could ever be like stable though? Like you could go mech every game?
I'm not sure. Like, it's hard to say.
You should ask Goody about that. Or Strelok, maybe.
I'll have to have them on for a mech
Well,
special.
imagine-
That would be awesome. Them to an
imagine-
HTO Mario, man. That would be my favorite episode ever, maybe. Sort of, have you found Zerg vs. Terran, like just standard Ling Bane Muta play, getting easier against Terrans, like now that you've had more time to practice with it? Or like, for instance, have your Zergris Terran win rates gone up over the last 2 months as shows have gone down?
Yeah, for sure, it's gone up a lot. Like, once you learn how to like micro properly versus the Widow Mines, then there's very few like things you have to adapt to in the game. It's just like micro and macro, and it's just like pure mechanics. And then it's just like if someone messes up, takes like a bad bailing hit or a bad mine hit, then that player wins. But like if you're really good with your melee control, I think it's it's quite easy now.
Okay, so there is something a little bit funky about the matchup then at this point, and Blizzard is trying to fix that. They're going to actually nerf the Widow Mine a little bit, buff the tank a little bit. So could Flash already like have seen the future at this point? Are you going to start going mech now, Sjow? Like, is this something you're going to be like putting in the back of your mind for practice?
Yeah, I've actually been trying to play it like lately, and the things I've figured out is you actually should play more like 50-50 air with Banshees and Vikings, and maybe some Ravens, and some Siege Tanks, Tors, and Hellbats.
Huh.
I think that composition is much better, because the only ground army just gets like crushed by Vipers otherwise. And it might, I actually win with that, even though the patch haven't came out. And with the patch, it will be so much better with the combined upgrades. But like people haven't figured out how to play against it. They just make corruptors, some of them, and like with upgraded Vikings, they have better synergy with the upgrades than corruptors have, because they get like 2 damage from each upgrade instead of 1 from like the corruptor gets.
1 armor.
Yeah, and also PDD is so good against corruptors because they shoot so slow. And then later you can transition into battle cruisers, and you have the perfect army basically.
The perfect army. Is Sky Terran the perfect army against Zerg? Because that's what Idra says a lot of the time when I talk to him about it. That like theoretically the best army you can have is going to be like battle cruiser, Viking, Raven, something like that. Do you agree with this? Like if oh god, don't even.
No. But the only time I've seen.
I mean, those genius guys.
Sort of, is that the scariest army you can think of to fight against?
Yeah, I guess, but it's like so hard for Terran to get to that point.
Yeah.
So you almost never see it. But like the only time I've seen it lose was like, I don't know if you saw Ghost User versus Lucifer at Assembly.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
No, I didn't
like
see that one.
it was like
That
a
was painful.
2-hour game, and it was just like spore crawlers and vipers and abducting air units into spore crawlers for like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
that game.
And wait, who ended up winning that one?
Ghost User, I think, because here he's like Lucifer just ran out of money in the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't really know how to play that, I felt, when he was playing it, Lucifer.
Yeah, maybe.
Sounds like my type of game, actually. I might have to fish up that VOD. Alright, so kind of interesting with the whole mech thing. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing some more mech play against Zerg, that's for sure. But let's talk a little bit about Nanoa and his PvZ a bit. And just, he had kind of a heroic run there, especially going out in O2. Of course, as you mentioned, Sjow those gateways in the main base of Hyun in Game 5. Pretty, Balls of Steel is a good way to describe that. But what, and especially Sjow, chime in for anything that you have to say as well, but our Protoss and Zerg guys, what do you think about the styles that Nanoa's using here? I felt like he was metagaming pretty heavily in certain areas, especially with his Nexus first into a gateway on his ramp, where he got like the, do you know the build I'm talking about, where he went Nexus first with the pylon on top of the ramp, and then he went for like the gateway wall like that he normally does into a Nexus, and he tried that a few times, and even in those games he was getting like, what was it, like a 730 third or something like that? Like he was, what do you guys think about that style?
I've actually been playing something very similar to that. I don't roll off on the ramp, I just roll off at the natural and then take a quick third. But it is quite risky against something like a 6 pool or 10-10, as always Nexus first is. You're gonna get behind. If you wall off on your ramp like he does, maybe against like a 10-10 you can actually end up holding, but you're still gonna lose the Nexus, so I think you'll still be behind. but I'm not completely sure about that. But against
think-
6 pool, you'll definitely get behind.
Yeah. I think like he was just like almost every game I saw, the Koreans Turks he played always went like 3 hash before pool.
Yeah. I've
So I
had so
think it was
much
just, like-
troubles with that.
Yeah, like
Sure.
everyone knows that Naniwa does gateway expand almost every game, like never forge expand. So they didn't feel any risk in taking a fast third. So I think that was
Yeah.
just like some way to counter that, you know. Like
Yeah, I've had-
instead of proxy gating, just like went for a Nexus first blindly.
Yeah, basically you have to proxy gate or cannon rush or do Nexus first against people who just abuse you with 3 fast hatcheries when you play safe gateway openings, usually. I've had the same exact problem against Vortex and stuff. It's really annoying, but yeah.
I personally hate those Zergs.
I'm really
What
looking
if I
forward
open
to
with
see.
a Forge? What would they do?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see Sue against Deer as well because of that. I want to see like how they mind game that part. If Sue goes for any 3 hatchers and how Deer is going to respond to that, because I feel like that's a really big part of CVP right now. If Cirque
Yeah.
gets lucky with that, I think they almost just won the game straight off the bat. You can't even do 4-gate pressures to punish the quick third because they have so many larvas that they can like make so many speed links. Do you agree with that, Rick?
Yeah, I think like if you get the really fast third, then it's like you almost want them to forget because you will have extra lava, you will have faster creep spread, and also
Yeah.
when you've done that, you can also get like a really fast speed as well. So the 4-gate is like not scary anymore. The scary
Yeah.
part about the 4-gate is like if you're taking a slightly delayed third, and they pressure you like before it's finished. That's
Exactly.
like the dangerous part about the 4-gate, I think.
That's how I used to play. Like I would just like 4-gate to cancel the third a lot, but then they started just doing that really quick 3 hatch, and I didn't know what to do. But yeah, I think it's just all about the mind games nowadays.
Yeah.
It certainly does seem like that with the types of builds that were going on, especially, again, that 5th game. It's like, well, you know, Nanoa's builds simply are not ever going to, like,
But-
are you going to open up with a Forge on, like, 13 or 14 to try to punish these things, and then, like, they do a build that's just kind of normal and only a little bit greedy and they can hold it, especially on some of these maps where you can't cannon. So it does seem really mind-gaming, really metagaming the way it is, which seems to have hurt Nanoa much more than helped him, I would say, because he does have such a stylistic way of playing, and it seems like the Koreans definitely kind of put their Nanoa knowledge together and came up with ways to play against him.
Yeah. For
I
sure.
think it's hurt like every Protoss, to be honest, because I think gateway expanding or gateway openings are better than Forge overall. I think most people agree on that, Cirques and Protoss right now. And so like basically I think like most Protosses are getting punished like this now. But
Yeah.
Nino was like, I mean, it was so cool to see like the proxy gates in the last game. I still think Cannon Rush might have been the safer choice because like one drone just has to like go like 2 centimeters to see it, but I don't know. Still pretty cool.
Yeah. That was some cool play, but he used some other styles as well in there because that wasn't always working for him. You know, he used a lot of his own style where he goes for 2 Stargate and charge, and I don't see a lot of other Protosses play quite like this. Like it's kind of SOS-y. You know, sometimes he does a build like that, and that's something that Nano's been doing for a while. He did it a lot in WCS and whatnot, but the kind of more new build that he used that I really liked was this weird DT thing that he was doing where he went DT into the 2 Stargate, and then he just targeted down Overseers to stop the Ling Roach timing, and by the time the Hydras come out, he's in a much better spot because this is what I thought about it was when you go for a DT opening and it doesn't do damage, they just make a bunch of roaches and roll over you with an Overseer and kill your third base every time because you just have no units. But I don't know. I thought this was kind of a cool thing. Is this something that do you guys agree with that assessment? Is this like flawed? Is this going to stick around? Is this something you might add in your own play? Sort of. Have you seen it on the European ladder at this point?
I've not seen it on the ladder, but I played versus it before, and I think it's really good. Like it works out really well actually because usually like you can do some. I'm not sure exactly how we did the build, but usually you can do some like 3-gate pressure into DTs into double Stargate and third, or you just like straight into DTs and into the Stargate. And either way, like what my response used to be anyways, like just max on roaches and go. and I could kill them. But then there's Void Race out. First off, the Void Race does really well with the roaches, and then they snipe your Overseer, and then you like have to wait and wait and wait for like another Overseer and Hydras, and then by then they have like enough Void Race, and maybe even like Storm out. So it seems really good actually. I haven't seen any like big flaws in it yet.
I think it's one of those builds that you can mix in, and if you do that really well, it's really scary for Zergs, like Nano showed. It was Shun, right? On what was map? Frost?
For
When he used
which game?
Wasn't it Derelict? I'm not sure.
I think it was on Frost. Anyways, when he did it, the Zerg, at least when I saw it, the Zerg was like, he didn't really know what to do, so he just like sent roaches in and like the Overseer snapped, as you said, and like so many roaches died for nothing pretty much. Plus, you got the third snipe with the DTs at the beginning. I feel like if you don't get that third snipe and the Zerg doesn't do that stupid roach push, and they just like, I don't know, max out, or maybe not even max out, like if they hit you around 160 supply or something with Roach Hydra, I think it's really hard to hold if your DTs do nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool to like mix in once in a while. I think that's why you saw SOS, or not SOS. What's his name?
Nano?
The Protoss. No, the Protoss. What is his name?
Deer?
Who?
Who?
No, the
What?
guy you were talking about earlier.
SOS?
Yes, SOS.
SOS.
Yes, SOS.
Yeah.
Sue and SOS, all those weird names.
Yeah.
Yeah, SOS, when he was doing those DT plays and Void Raid plays, like he kind of stopped doing it a bit as well, and I think it's because you have to realize like you can mix it in, but you can't do it like every game, because then if the Zerg really figures out how to punish it, then they can pretty much do that every time, I think.
Yeah, I think like the important part is like for the Zerg is to scout the DTs coming and then take 0 damage and like go for Hydra push. But
Yeah,
like if you don't see
exactly.
it coming, like if it's something you mix in just to throw your opponent off, and like you take damage from the DTs and you're kind of forced into like a counterattack with roaches, that's when you're like, I think you're in big trouble.
Yep.
So I think you for sure it's all about scouting the DT. It's a bit gimmicky in that way.
I'd like to see that. It's always nice to see Nano pull out a new build that I haven't really seen, or at least haven't seen in a very long time. Now, what about his actual style itself? The charge lot with 2 Stargates. I know it's done very well in Europe, somewhat recently. Is this something that he's going to have to change pretty soon? Because I feel like, he normally changes his style up really regularly. Like he'll pop up at a new event after not going to 2, and then like it's something kind of new. But here he's kind of done the last 2 big things with this style. Like, is this something solid enough? Like Babyknight, have you used this build personally much?
I actually used to use a bit of Void Race at the beginning of HOTS, but I really don't like that style. I mean, it was quite good for a while, but I don't know. I just don't really like the unit, so I didn't use it as much. But I think now Zergs is starting to figure out that Queens are really good against it, and just a lot of creep spread. I think Nani was starting to struggle a bit with it sometimes, especially like, did you see his game against Targa, WCS?
I want to say I did.
Yeah, like Targa just went like a lot of queens, so the Riders did pretty much nothing in the big fight, and then he had so much creep spread and roaches, and he just killed Naniwa pretty much. I think if you play the Void Ray style, again, it's all about mixing it up, I think. And it seems like Naniwa is starting to do that more and more, so I guess that's good for him. I mean, it's not a bad style, but as I said, like I think it's starting to be more figured out now.
Do you have any trouble against it, sort of? Especially being his teammate. I don't know if you ever practice against him or anything, but
Yeah, I practice with him, but it's hard to say because very few Protosses actually does it besides him, and the ones who do it aren't as good with it, I feel. So it's hard to say. Like I think it's when I play versus him, I think it's really really good, and because he has really good timings with everything, like the time he gets storm, the time he gets charge. It's like stay alive, and if he stays alive for long enough and gets enough Void Race, if you try, like if you commit too hard to any like Roach Hydra aggression, and you don't kill him, then you're like, you have no way to stop you from him just A-moving you. But I guess if you go into like Queen Infestor heavy play, then you can play a bit more passive, I think. Because then then you have like the build up for the army to like keep him, as long as you fight on creep, then I think you can fight even worse. But if you start going into like Master of Hydra and just aggression, then you like, I don't feel like there any transition out of that, and it's just like keep going until you win or lose.
Yeah, I think it's like a ticking time bomb if you go Roach Hydra. Like
Yeah.
you have to kill him, otherwise you're gonna die. And he's so good at holding, so
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right way to do it.
Okay. Well, it was quite a nice event. I have to ask it, is Life back? Is it official now that he's back after what is it? You got top 4 Bucharest, right? And then won this. So is Life back? I guess sort of this really falls on you.
Yeah, I think so. Like he has his own style, so it's really hard to like compare him to anyone else. But he's just like so good about his aggression and his like micro, and like I haven't seen any other player play like him. Like he could play so low eco, so many times. Like he would stop like cutting drones, like 30 drones, and make like a bunch of blinks, and just like go attack the pros when he takes his third, like a lot of stuff like that. So he's so hard to prepare for like and know what he's doing. And I feel like you can't like copy him at all. I think it's just like he has his own thing, and it seems to be working really well.
They said it well in the commentary. I thought he makes anything work, like things that you just I think he overmade Lings and then he kills your third, and you're like, what? Like I don't think that normally happens, but okay. Life is something else. All right. Any closing thoughts on IM New York before we jump into the next topic?
Nope.
All right.
Just said that 4GG and who was it, Polt couldn't arrive.
Yeah. God, there were like no Terrans in that whole tournament, man. There was none in the bracket stage, and then it was just Hack, QXC, and Flash in the group stage. It's like that does hurt a tournament, I have to say, when you get like just a completely 2-race bracket. It's very sad.
Yeah, it was pretty like sure that a Zerg or a Protoss would win that tournament.
Yeah, pretty much.
But either way, it was great.
Well, yeah, Zerg and Protoss really kind of on the rise. I guess in Korea, Terrans are still doing okay, although they didn't make the finals in GSL finally. That's nice. All right, let's jump into the last subject that I really have written down for the night, and this is something that I think you three are three of the most qualified people to talk about. Blizzard has been talking about WCS Challenger League, the fact that it may not, possibly may not be this season getting you into Premier next season. Like, if you get a certain distance, you're going to get into Challenger League at least to still try to get into Premier for the next season. They've only guaranteed, though, the 8 slots from Premier last season. They're saying perhaps there might be more offline portions, which I would imagine won't involve Challenger League. That would be really weird. But they realize this would be really difficult with how many countries everyone lives in and everything. They're talking about possibly region locking, something like that. Perhaps WCS points given to ladder players. The fact that there's going to be 3 seasons next year, not 4 like they originally intended. And team points tracked, and some other things as well. I just want you guys to start kind of sounding off on exactly what you think about this, because it seems like Challenger League obviously being reshaped, but into what? Everyone, I'm sure at least one of you guys must have gotten that email or something where, that can be a bit scary as a pro, I'm sure. So what do you think, sort of?
Well, I forfeited my challenge yesterday to play the DreamHack qualifier instead, because it was just so sketchy. Like, we had no information on what's gonna happen in the first season.
Yeah.
So I chose to play the DreamHack qualifier instead because, from what I read in the email, we couldn't qualify directly into Premier, and since it said that we could get seeding into the qualifier for Premier, so I guess there's gonna be like an open qualifier or something for Premier, and then it just what does it matter if I play Challenger now? I can get seeded 1 round further. It's not that big a deal. So.
Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was very demotivated playing Challenger this season. But I talked to Red and Hassops, and they actually think that they might base it on WCS points for this season and seed some of the players with highest points into Premier League next season. What do you guys think about that?
I thought they
I
would
mean, I
have
don't think
reset
we
the
have
points.
any info about that. But yeah, but like they're gonna reset the points, but they could like take the guys who got most points for this season and just seed them directly into Premier.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
That kind of, that's not the worst idea really, but
That's kind
Yeah,
of fair, at least.
yeah, we don't have any really info about it though. Like it seems like I think they said they're gonna just have qualifiers. That's all they've really said.
But I think there's going to be a lot less WCS next year then, because they said they weren't going to do season finals or change them somehow. And
yeah.
Just 3 seasons on the entire year. It seems like there's not going to be as much WCS this year, at least.
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Well, I think the good thing about WCS, right, is the daily content, right? Like there's always games, and there's always games for pro gamers to play. But now it's kind of like it's trying to do both, I guess, like give room for everyone else and still have the daily content. But I feel like it's gonna be too spread out, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it might be okay to not have the season finals. Like it's just the same players like that already did well. They just get even more games and even more money. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
I wish they would use that money to like get more money to like Challenger and so on.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
now like you get first in Challenger, you get $300. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird though, because you get those $300 and you get like 1,500 at least for being in Premier. So those $300 just don't matter at all. It's really weird how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, they should do something about that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't qualified for WCS, so I'm not too interested in this. But like, it's for me. Like, I tried to qualify for the Code A. A lot of times, I feel like there's 2 less spots. It's kind of hard to qualify. Like, if you were invited to Premier League the first season, it was very hard for you to go down or drop, because you just have to win like 1 map, I think, and then you're still in the qualifier at least. And the qualifying is kind of hard because there's so much like Korean players, like Code A Korean players that tries to qualify, and they're taking our spots. I feel like.
For sure.
So are you hoping for a region lock then?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like I think like they should have the rule that players like 4GG or Koreans that stay in Europe, that live here and play the ladder, they should be able to play it, but not the ones that just come over or play the WCS finals and like go home right after, like taking our money and go home.
Okay. What about Babyknight and SortOf? Do you guys think they should just region lock out? Like you have to live in Europe?
I'm a bit torn on it, because for me personally, like I want to like go to Korea and practice, you know. And if I do that and I have to play WCS Europe online, that's kind of rough, you know.
Yeah.
I've done that before and it didn't work out well.
But that doesn't have anything to do with region lock, though.
Yeah, it does, because if I'm region locked to Europe, that means I can't change to Korea or NA to play online from Korea.
Oh, like that.
So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I think like some form of region locking should be good.
Well, I think what you should do is wherever you live, you have to play. Like you won't have to play from like across the globe anyway then. So yeah, like we would still have some Koreans in Europe then. We would have Stardust and 4GG, and I don't know about MMA and MC if they live in Germany. But yeah, we would have a few, but it wouldn't be too many, and they wouldn't just take the money and just bring them home to Korea. They would actually stay here and like help. We could practice against them and stuff, so it'll like grow our scene overall, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I'm a bit torn as well, because like I think the Koreans are like in WCS. Obviously, it's bad when like 14 of 16 players in WCS top 16 is Koreans in NA. But I think like the Korean scene doesn't have as much tournaments either, and they have like so many good players that practice so much. So I think like the Korean players deserve some more tournaments as well, not just like not lock in and like just locking it out wouldn't be right, I think.
Yeah, I think they should increase the prize pool for Korea and lower the European and American because it's so much harder there.
Yeah, for sure.
But if it was just a prize pool thing, I think you'd still definitely get the Koreans over that no, they can't win Korea or something like that. But they're talking about possibly expanding the offline portion as a form of like a soft region lock, is what they were saying in here. So, do you guys think something like that would help? Like, for instance, if you had to play your round of 32 Premier League matches, would that be like an interesting compromise to you guys? Like, would that force more of the Koreans out, or what?
I think it would force some of the Koreans out, but it wouldn't change too much. Like if they can get here for the round of 16, they can probably get here for the round of like 32 as well. So I don't think it will make too much difference.
ESL pays, so.
Yeah, but they only pay from like Europe to Europe, you know. They don't pay from like Korea to Europe.
Oh, so it's like a stipend maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think it would change too much. A little bit maybe, but not much.
Well, another thing that they mentioned here that I actually quite liked is they're thinking of giving WCS points to people in the ladder who register their accounts as participating in WCS of that region. I feel like that's something that definitely can help out you guys because obviously, you know, they made this funny restriction of you have to be at least Masters League in the region that you're going to do this in. It's like, well, it takes a Korean pro like 4 hours to get Masters League from bronze. So, I mean, that's not helpful. But something like giving WCS points when you're registered on that ladder, I feel like that's something that could be really good for you guys because at the minimum, it's going to force a lot better players coming on your ladder, I think, right? If the Koreans want to play in that region, it doesn't make sense for them to not ladder at least some.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
It sounds cool. But the thing is, like... yeah, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, you...
You go ahead.
No, you...
All right. It will make the ladder more competitive for sure. That's great. And the skill level, we would be much closer to Koreans if we could play with them.
Yeah.
I think. So it would be amazing. But like it could, the problem is there could be a lot of cheating as well. If you're top 16 and you get like a lot of points for that,
God,
you could forfeit matches and stuff.
Yeah.
So they have to be aware of that though.
Yeah. And also like the problem could be that there's a lot of pro gamers who just like to play a lot of custom games instead of laddering. And they would like probably lose a lot of practice partners because I think more people would like to play custom games or play ladder instead of custom.
Well,
games.
you just have to use your bonus pool. Like it's 1 game a day or something to stay high.
It's only bonus pool. Like
yeah, if you want to stay high on ladder, you just need to play 1 game a day pretty much. Just use your bonus pool. I mean,
I guess.
Yeah, you can abuse that so much.
Yeah.
Like the system is very bad.
Yeah,
like the players that play a lot, it's hard for them to get higher ranks. But if you play like 1 game or every time you have a bonus pool, you get a lot of ranks easier.
Yeah, it would be awesome if it was like the iCup ladder, for sure.
Oh God, wouldn't that be fucking awesome? Were you a StarCraft 1 player?
Yeah.
Was your ID SortOf?
Yeah.
Were you on QPad?
No, I was in Energy, the North American team.
Okay. Damn. Yeah, no, man. We need the IC Cup ladder. That was the best damn thing ever. Oh my God.
It was fucking awesome.
But I kind of like that. And something I wanted to point out, we were talking about it before a little bit, the fact that there might be sort of, you said, like a little bit less WCS, which might provide less content. But the one thing that I keep on hearing from pro gamers, and I know is definitely a fact, StarCraft stream numbers are way down, which is making it a lot harder for pro gamers. So, and I think a big contributing factor to this, I think everyone kind of agrees, is there's so much StarCraft content. It's like, even though like you may love, like I personally, there's a few pro gamers, I love to watch their streams. And the thing is, there's so many tournaments I'm trying to keep up with. You know, once I'm done the premiere, I'm like, well, I mean, there's some really great Challenger League matches of the same players that just fell down, you know. there's almost no time left in the day. There's no time left in your thirst for StarCraft to watch those player streams. So couldn't that be a really a boon to you guys, so that you could get some more stream views and, you know, secure yourself a bit more fame, make a bit more money, get a better contracted team, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think it's true. Like, whenever I'm thinking about streaming, I check like TL, and there's always like some tournament that I want to watch going on. Almost always. It's
Oh.
like, I guess I'll stream later, and then there's like another tournament afterwards. I'm like, yeah, it's
But
it's
if
really hard.
a lot of players are going to be streaming, if there will be less WCS content, then the viewers that are there will be split amongst the players anyways. So it might be the same in the end for all the personal streams, but I guess there will be more players streaming. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but
I think there's already like tons of players streaming. Like every time I go on TL, there's like 10 featured streams live.
it's not that many. Like there used to be a lot more, I thought. Like sometimes
It
there are
felt
like
like
nobody's
there was
streaming.
a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have given up because the views just they aren't really there at this point.
Yeah.
You know, when you're like a player that's in Challenger League in Europe and you're getting 24 stream viewers or something, it's probably pretty depressing, you know? You're like, well,
Yeah.
damn, I'm good, but
It depends. It depends who you are, because like they made that thing where like if you're in Challenger League at least you'll get featured on TL, which is really nice for like newer players. But for like older seasoned players who are like have dropped down to Challenger or something like that, then I guess it's pretty sad because they do get a lot less than they used to. So yeah.
Do they get booted off the TL piece if you fall out?
I don't know.
I
think it
I would
depends.
hope not.
Like I think if you got featured from getting into Challenger, then you might get booted out.
Oh, okay.
But if you
That
had
makes
was featured
sense.
before, like that, I don't think. I'm not sure on that though.
Sjow, I've seen you streaming a decent amount. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it would help a lot, I think. Even though like before there was so much more viewers, like I remember like 2011, like Idra had 10k, Stefano had 16k, it was sick. But I think it's mostly because the viewers have gone down, like you said. And every time, there's like tournaments every time. So, like sort of said, you have to watch it. Like you prefer watching a tournament than watching a stream, I think, because it's like new every time.
Yeah. It's not just ladder games. It has, you know, it's a show put together. It's rough stuff. I don't know. We'll see about that. I hope that player streams can make a bit of a resurgence. It's hard to live off that player salary, no doubt. Now, another thing that they point out that I found kind of interesting was they're going to track team points, like everyone that's on the team, their WCS points as they go up, and then have what they call possible, quote, fun matches for top-ranked teams. Now, I hate it when things are in quotes that say fun. Anything that's fun, like an all-star match or something, I do not even watch because I'm hard. I want to see people trying their asses off. That's it. I want, you know, everything on the line. But I really like the idea of doing something with teams. What do you guys think? As you're all on teams, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I've never been a huge fan of team leagues or anything like that. I watch Pro League and I watch some DSTL, but it's usually just like to watch the individual players. You know, never been like much to like follow a team or watch the team. And in team leagues myself, I just thought of them as like another individual match. Like team leagues in StarCraft is kind of weird in my opinion. You have to do something fun with it, like getting the entire team offline, you know. And I think something have like a boot camp, like with both teams before the match or something, you know. I'm not sure, something like that to make it more interesting.
Okay.
I think like the fun games, like show matches with like no prize money or something, I think it's kind of silly. But sometimes they do like really fun FFA stuff, and they've done that sometimes in some tournaments. It can be a lot of fun. I don't know. I think the viewers kind of like it too when players are just like talking to each other a lot and chatting and stuff, just having fun. But shouldn't do too much of that, of course.
Yeah. How about you, Sjow?
I used to be a fan of team leagues in Warcraft 3. They had WCS. It was like the best tournament you could ever play in.
That was the greatest thing ever. Even I paid attention to that shit. What was it called? W3L or something?
Yeah,
WC3L?
where they had like 4 1-on-1 matches, 1 2-on-2. But I don't feel the same way about StarCraft. Even like playing them, it's not the same. Like you don't get the same motivation for it. You don't really care about it, I guess, that much. So I'm not sure how to fix that. Like Acer's Team Story Cup was pretty fun, but not like Home Story Cup, for example. Like I would rather watch Home Story Cup than that.
I
don't feel
do
like
have to agree on that.
like team games are that important in StarCraft. Like I rather prefer just one-on-one tournaments.
Okay, so not a lot of interest from the pro gamers on the team aspects. So, I mean, I guess we don't have that much information to go on. It was just this kind of Q&A from Kim Fan on, just those few things that we went over. Basically, I went through and read right before the show, reread it, and pulled out what I could that was interesting. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Of course, we don't have too much info left, so or too much info given out to us so far. So do you guys have any closing thoughts on these changes that we don't really quite know what's going on with yet?
I just hope like they gave us like some real solid information like in time, because like last year like we got like, hey guys, WCS starts in 1 week. Hurry up and get back to Europe. Like it was kind of like short notice. So I hope at least they give us some information in the next month at least.
I agree, but at the same time, I'm actually really happy that they're not rushing it, because I felt like that was one of the big problems when they started the whole WCS thing this year, that they were really rushing things, and there were a lot of problems at the beginning especially. So if they just really take their time to like rethink everything and make it really good, I think it could be even more awesome next year. So I think it's all right, as long as we get the info a bit like in time before it starts, I guess.
How about you, Sjow? Anything?
Not really. What's the question again? I'm really tired right now.
Well, it's just if you had any like closing thoughts on this whole matter of WCS for next year and our lack of information on it.
Well, I just hope they release the information quicker, like they said.
Fair enough. By the way, before we close out, you mentioned possibly switching regions because you want to go back to Korea. Are you going to go back to Korea, and would you consider playing in the Korean region?
I haven't made any plans yet, but I want to go back to Korea. And then I've tried playing WCS Europe from Korea, but that was like the worst online experience ever for me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about changing to either NA or Korea, but we'll see what happens. It depends on the information you get from WCS.
Yeah, I guess that would heavily depend upon that. If, let's say they region locked it to you had to live in the area and you wanted to go to Korea to train, would you play in WCS Korea? Putting you on the spot.
It's a tough one. It's like a big commitment.
Yeah, it is.
I've like the longest time I've been in Korea for like at a time was like 2 months. So I'm not sure like an entire year. I'm not sure how I would handle it, but I would try. I would try.
Sick.
I would go live in NA, man. Easy money. Easy money.
Even in NA, I'm practicing Korean ladder from NA.
Oh yeah, like
So
West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imbalanced.
Sick life.
Yeah.
Sick life.
That's my plan.
Don't move to America. You have a good thing going over there in Europe. All right. So I think.
Be right back.
Okay. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. That's all I had to really go over for today, unless you guys have anything else to add and you wanted to chit-chat about. Oh, wow. I think he just fell over in his kitchen. What was that?
I think it's just like building up more or something.
But
I wanted to talk more about the show's boys, but I guess maybe another time.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to be using that lingo for sure. Pulling the boys. It's bringing the boys, man. Watch out. He brings all his boys to Babyknight's yard. All right.
I played him on ladder the other day, and he did it, and I held it, and then I pulled all my probes.
Did you kill him?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I thought it was better when they called it the mini Thors.
This is in StarCraft 1, I guess at the beginning of StarCraft 2, SCVs had 60 hit points.
Yeah.
LZ Gamer called them linebackers, which is like, I don't know if you guys know American football, but it was so fun. He's like, oh, the linebackers are coming. Because you'd pull SCVs with Marine Rushes against Zerg too, so. The fun things you can call the SCV pull. Why don't pro pulls and drone pulls really exist? It's kind of sad.
Only we have Medevacs.
Yeah, I guess. And high DPS as well.
And mules.
Only ranged units. So, and about a million other things.
Yeah.
Goddamn Terran. Serves him right not getting into the finals of GSL or IEM. Well, let's go ahead and start closing it out kind of slowly so Sjow can get back. But Babyknight, why don't you give us any of your shout-outs and whatnot?
Sure. Thanks for having me on the show, Dan. It's a pleasure as always. It was fun to talk about things, and I'm really excited about WCS. I really hope that they make it work next year, and I'm hoping for the region lock. And yeah, thanks to my team Millennium and our sponsors Seat Discount, Corsair, and Winamax. Yeah, that's it.
And SortOf.
Thanks for having me on the show, and yeah, I too hope that I'm also hopeful for WCS next year. I think it's going to be pretty good either way, however they do it, because this year was not bad. I think it's only going to get better. So
have to agree with that.
Yeah, and shout out to my team Alliance, our sponsors XMG, Racer, and Monster, and hopefully Sjow comes back so I don't have to keep talking.
Keep talking, man. Keep it going.
What should I talk about?
You're killing esports. You're killing esports, sort of. Keep it going.
I recently did an interview with Monster Energy. You can check out on monstergaming.com, and I'm probably gonna stream today or tomorrow or something. So you can check that out on Twitch TV/SortOfSE.
Yeah, I'm gonna stream as well. I'm gonna start streaming a lot more now. Like, there's kind of an off season going on now, so there's not many tournaments.
Yeah, just a bunch of online qualifiers. So.
Yeah, that's.
And team leagues.
There's like, I don't think there's a single offline event announced for December, is there? Right? Oh wait, no. Are they doing that IM? Yeah, I heard something about an IM Cologne.
It's Cologne. I've heard of Singapore. It's going to be at the same time as DreamHack Winter.
Yeah, that's November though. I'm talking December.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know about December.
Are they going to do like another Cologne, or didn't they do one in August?
I just read something on Twitter the other day, didn't I?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Home Story is in November too, right?
Yeah, that's middle of November. Okay. Well, I guess I'll give my shout-outs while we wait. I guess Sjow is going to the bathroom or something. I don't really know. Choose my sponsors: TG Sports, iBuyPower, and of course Simpatico, who does all the production. And these guys are coming on. It's been a fun show, kind of a quick one, but that's sometimes the way it goes. Make sure that you check these guys out, watch their streams, maybe skip some other stuff that you were going to watch, because pro gamers need that. People watching their streams so they can show their sick skills off. These tournaments are really unforgiving. And
I think he just went to bed or something.
He's like, you know what, I'm really tired. We talked too much about Protoss for Zerg. I'm out of here.
Oh.
That's Morrow.
Oh, sick. I love Morrow. I'm going to have to get Morrow on next week.
He's awesome.
He is awesome.
Morrow's tweets are the best.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. And his little Twitter icon is exactly like it describes him. It sums him up really, really well. What do you think those trophies are for on Sjow's wall, on his bookcase? Are those all StarCraft trophies, you think?
Probably Morrow's.
Yeah, maybe Sjow's and Morrow's.
Sjow's and Morrow's trophies. Who's that bust of, though?
The what?
The head statue?
I don't know.
Oh, there he is. It's Morrow.
Sjow is not feeling too well, so he's resting a bit. He fainted. He might have drank a little bit too little water or something. But,
right. Well, we were actually just closing out and waiting for him to come back here to give his shout-outs, but ever since you're on his same team now, why don't you go ahead and give us his shout-outs?
Oh, shit. Yeah, sure. Shout out to SteelSeries and Bredband2. Those are main sponsors. And I think that's it.
All right. Well,
Make
thank
sure
you
to
for
follow
coming on the
follow me
show
on
at this
Twitter.
second.
I hope this doesn't count as my visit on the show.
No.
Yeah, you're done.
We'll bring you on another week. Well,
Yeah, I have a lot to say about Protoss and Zerg.
oh, I can't wait. That's going to be
I know
awesome.
you do. I know you do.
I'm going to get a very vocal Protoss and Zerg for you to talk with then.
You should bring Elfie or Nanova or someone.
Okay. I'll do. I will try my best for that. All right. That is it, guys. Thank you much for watching. Thank you guys for showing up, and we'll see y'all later. Pros always want to have gear that's exactly fitted to their needs.
Something I've always dreamed about doing is using my experience as a gamer to make gear for people like me.
We're working with TT Esports to make the exact mouse, keyboard, and headset that we've always wanted to use.
When you're doing anything that you love to do, the tools that you're using matter the most.
We're designing these products from scratch to make sure that your gaming experience is completely seamless. The gear I use to play the game
are the tools I use to win.